Hi guys, and welcome to another load order video. I have been installing quite a few mods in the break between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of my Skyrim Special Edition playthrough. Now, I'm not going to be talking about all of the mods I've installed, or I'm thinking of installing, because I want to avoid spoilers. Not spoilers for Chapter 2 specifically, but potential spoilers for the end of Chapter 1 and the things that I'm thinking about for Chapter 2. So I'm going to be talking about nothing but the visual mods that I'm thinking of using, or I'm probably going to use actually. Now, in the first chapter I left things mostly vanilla, and I did that deliberately because I wanted to experience the vanilla Special Edition game, so I actually had something to compare mods to. I did use a few mods because quite quickly I became fed up of things like the water, the mountains, and of course I did end up using a weather mod and ELFX to make darkness, well, dark. But apart from that, it was a fairly vanilla experience. Now it's time to push that a little. As you can probably see already, I am using a texture pack. I'm using Noble Skyrim, which is a really large and popular texture overhaul, and I think is going to be a good base for a start. You know, I may use some other textures on top of this, but overall the textures in this mod are absolutely superb. I'm sure you've noticed how much more detail there is on the floor. The walls look crisper and clearer. Everything just looks far higher quality. So this is the start, a texture pack. I think it's 2K textures, which is easily good enough for 1440p. So this is the start, Noble Skyrim. What you may not be able to notice, or is a bit more difficult to notice, is I've also used a mod for trees and for grass. For grass, I'm using Verdant. Now, there were several grass mods, and they all had, well, they had a lot going for them. I was very impressed with many of them, but I ended up going with Verdant because it has the most patches for things like immersive NPCs, and just, it cleared a few areas that did look a little odd with other grass mods. For example, you know the places where the carriage drivers set up camps? With most grass mods, those things are a bit overrun, and it looked a little odd. Verdant's got the most amount of compatibility patches, and so there's not grass clipping through things added by other mods. So that's the main reason in the end. I mean, it's a great looking mod. There were a lot of great looking grass mods, but that was it in the end. I'm also using enhanced vanilla trees. Again, I did try several different tree mods, but I quite liked this one. It feels, obviously because they're vanilla trees, it still feels vanilla, but there are a lot more details on the tree, and I chose the lush option, so basically the trees have got more branches, they look fuller, and the forests look thicker and, well, you know, more lush. I really do like the way it makes the wooded areas look. I did try several other mods, and just this, for some reason, I like this one. Now, I am not ruling out installing some other mods. There are mods that change some of the trees in other areas, and I may start adding some more mods to complement it. You may also have noticed the distant terrain looks a lot better. I have installed several mods for distant terrain including DynDOLOD. So if you look at Bleak Falls Barrows up there, you can see far more detail. And indeed, if I run around Skyrim, you're going to see a far clearer and more detailed distant terrain, but also I'm hoping you will notice slightly less pop-in from things like trees. There is still a pop-in effect, but because of the mods I'm using, it will be a little less noticeable. If you do concentrate on it, you will see the trees pop in from their flat, low quality versions to the higher quality versions as you get closer, but it shouldn't be as dramatic and as hideously ugly as in the basic game. You can probably already see Whiterun looks better off in the distance than it would have in the vanilla game, as do the mountains. It's a lot easier to see. What the hell am I hearing? A giant. Don't even know. I've been messing around in this area, so maybe I've caused some issues. Maybe a giant just got bored and wanted to go wandering. You can see things like the path down there across the bridge. It's a lot easier to see than it would be in the vanilla game. And this area, a traditionally hideous, low quality and bland area, looks a lot more interesting now. Even the trees off in the distance look a little more realistic. So that's where I'm starting. Texture overhaul, noble Skyrim, enhanced vanilla trees, verdant grass, and a few different texture overhauls. Distant terrain improvements, as you can see. I will be adding more as I go. Like I said, I now feel it's time to start pushing my load order and see what I can do. I gave the vanilla game a good try. I know the difference. It really does look a lot nicer. I mean, look at that. You can actually see the stone, the sort of, you know, the stones that have been built up into a sort of gateway. You can actually see them. Little things like that really do help, don't they? I mean, Skyrim Special Edition did look better than Skyrim, the old version. It did have less problems with the distant terrain Zed fighting, but it still looked reasonably ugly in the distance. I'm actually hoping some of the improvements they've made, when they were talking about Fallout 76, they've got a new way of doing distant terrain to have 16 times the detail, which hopefully means the base games from now on will look better. Yeah, you see the fort over there? Prior to the mods I was using, you probably would not have been able to see that, and had you been able to see it, it would not have had the details on it that it now does. I will be doing another video reasonably soon, once Chapter 1 is finished, where I will discuss some of the other mods that I'm thinking of using, some of the things that add things to the game, or perhaps change some of the gameplay elements. I'll give you an example that won't spoil anything. I'm thinking of using quick loot for Skyrim, things like that. That's not a spoiler, so I will do a video where I cover that after Chapter 1. Okay? And just in case you're wondering how big a gap there's going to be between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, the fact that I'm finalising my load order should give you some indication that it will be a reasonably short break. I'm expecting the break to be a couple of weeks maximum, maybe 3 at most. So you won't be missing it too much. There will be a short break from Leonard, and then he will be back. Okay, so keep your eyes open for the next video, and I will catch you guys next time.